I finally got around to completing the Kate Bishop um, thing on Marvel's Avengers. And the more time that's transpired, in which seeing, from release and the game where it's at and the state that it's in now, the more I dig my feet in and say that they should have went the route of making that an action MMO RPG. The best part of the game is its combat system. I've documented that. It does a fantastic job with the characters, including Kate Bishop. I did like one round with her where they don't fight the same. They virtually all fight different. They have the powers and stuff that they do. The things that they do, that even from the traversal on down, is unique. Right? Everything that they do is unique. The best part of the game. Unfortunately, because they're pulling. I mean, I've already said that. It sounds like they're going in the direction that I said that they would go, that I didn't want them to go, and that was trying to appeal to normies and adding characters, and that is going to be how they think that this is going to be reviving this game. But it's not. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is you've not given the player really anything to do that isn't the exact same thing. And a lot of that is limited to the gameplay design. And I've said this time and time. I said this early on. It's like you're focusing too much on the other, and they're trying to appeal to like the normies, right? Even though the game is an MCU, the game, they're trying to appeal to absolute normies who would get off by seeing a character that they may recognize and putting them in the game. But that's not going to save the game, because that's not the problem. The problem is that even with the Kate Bishop, there's some difference, but for the most part, you were going to do the same thing, and then once it's done, you're back at square one. Well, there's not much to do. And what they tried to do was make it to where, okay, what is considered content? What's considered content is adding new characters to do the same thing that you were already doing before. That's the unfortunate thing. And that's not going to save this game. And this is why I said, though it's a cool little thing to do and get a couple hours of gameplay out of, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's just not enough. That's not what was going to do it. And this is why I'm digging my toes right in the, like, I'm not even pivoted from. I was like, okay, this was an idea. But now seeing how this plays out and seeing the direction that they're going, which isn't going to revive this game by any means, the route they should have went was making an action MMO with that combat system. They set it up. Instead of trying to get everybody to play as these other characters, which we've done in 40 other games. We got 3 Marvel Ultimate Alliances. We have Marvel Mega Heroes. We've already done that. Right? We've already done that. The appeal to this game was that it heightened the combat system, made it look good, right? Made it live response. And then they put it online, right? Which you had some online elements to Marvel Mega Heroes, but the combat system wasn't really like it, of course, it is in Marvel's Avengers, which is about the only good thing that they have going for them. They should have ran with the Inhuman storyline. The Inhuman storyline, A Day, which is a great launching point, by the way. Instead of making the game more about, okay, you just play it gives you context, the main story gives you context. That could have existed, but what it should have been was a launching point to you creating your own Inhuman. It was set up for him perfectly. A-Day, all of these Inhumans are created, and it almost seemed like they were going that direction, like I said in my review. It almost seemed like they were going that direction, and then at some point, someone said, or maybe Marvel themselves was like, "No, we're about to have this big push behind this Kamala Khan character. We need to make her the centerpiece of the main story, at least." Um, but if they would have done that, it would have opened the floodgates as far as what they would have been able to do with this game. Right? It's a live service game. So your game is strictly driven by its content. There's only so much you can do if you're going to pigeonhole people into playing as characters that they don't even want to fucking play as. Right? There's what, six characters now? What, seven, excuse me? With Kate. I don't want to play as Kate Bishop. Like I played with him, I was like, yeah, that's fine, but I found myself going back to Hulk. And I believe that a lot of players are like that. That's not content. Content is not, hey, we have these group of characters. You get to play as them, like, and build them up. Like, for what? Like, that doesn't even mean anything, right? It's not like there's copy characters or when you go play online or anything, or they cannot, like, there's none of that. So what was the point of that? That was always a bad design, but it's even worse as you see the direction that they're going with the type of content that they're putting out. What they should have did was a Marvel styled MMO in which you could have had all those characters in the game. You could have had even Kamala, but you could have made Kamala a mission chain or something like that. You could have had Kamala teaching an Inhuman something or something like that. You could have done it that way. You could have had her accompany you on a mission. You could have done it that way. Instead of just trying to, which it seems that was Marvel's thing, was like, hey, we're going to sell so many toys of these characters that everybody recognized. Maybe that was the direction that they went. But this is why I say both Marvel and DC are like, they're sitting on money. They're sitting on piles of money. They're sitting on piles of money. DC Universe Online. I know a lot of y'all still, some of y'all don't play it. That community is fucking rocking, bro. It's a reason why that game is going on almost, we're going into a second decade of the game. It's been out that long. But there's a reason for that. You might not play it, but you can log in right now and you're going to see and go to, the hub, and you're going to see a bunch of players still playing this game. It's a reason why that game has not been retired yet. It's because the community's rocking. But could you imagine DC Universe Online, but it looked and it played in terms of the combat system like Avengers? So obviously they'd have to change up the traversal and stuff like that. But could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? They're just sitting on money. Because to me, that is a game that I probably would not play anything else. If it was, well, that was if they were like DC Universe Online. Like DC Universe Online, they always had content on that damn game. Like if you haven't played it in a while, it's probably gonna overwhelm you how much stuff there is to do, which is always good as far as I'm concerned. It is so much stuff to do on that game. When I played it again like 3 months ago, I was like, wow, there's so much stuff to do that I have not done, like all these mission chains and stuff that I have not had a chance to do. It is insane. But that should have been the approach, and what DC Universe Online should be doing. I know they just went through this process where Daybreak got sold. Um, they should be working on DC Universe Online too, and they should be taking Avengers' combat system, and they should be upgrading the shit for next gen. If you got to put it out and exclusively have it on on something like PC, then that's for a while, then that's what you got to do. But nonetheless, they're sitting on money. They're sitting on money. They're absolutely sitting on money by doing that because, as you can see, that they're still on and popping. DC Universe is still on and popping. They're still consistently adding content on this game, and it's just dated. This is why it's so hard for me to get back into it consistently because it's dated. Like, yeah, it plays like something that I would have been playing at 19 years of age. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but if they upgraded it, made it a next gen experience, overhauled the combat system, which they kind of have some of those aspects there now, but really make it like adopt the Xenoverse approach if you're gonna do PvP, adopt the the Marvel's Avengers approach for PvE, where it feels like there's weight to the things that you do and the things that you can do. Like that's the direction that they go in. Marvel's Avengers had a chance. They still have a chance because, after all, it is live service. But if their idea is adding new characters with a new region to do the same shit that you were doing before, that's not going to save this game. It's just simply not. Because then you're treating it almost like it's a fighter when that's not even the direction that you were claiming to go to. It was an action RPG, online RPG, not a fighter. So I don't have really interest to just sit up here and try out all the characters or build them up. There's no benefit to me doing that. I don't care to do that. You're better off just having a bunch of powers. Obviously, you got to keep it balanced in some kind of way. Definitely, if you're doing PvP, that would be the trickiest thing to do. But having powers, having powers based on whatever it is, direction that you went with your inhuman, and then that's how you do it. PvP would be the hardest thing to implement though, because it's hard to, even Xenoverse had an issue of balancing um, that issue. But if you got a good balanced game, it was intense. It was intense. For all I played hell out of Xenoverse 2. When I were able to finally get 3v3 with my bros on one side, oh, man, with a team that wasn't like cheesing, man, it was intense battle. So we'll see what happens. But Marvel's Avengers adding Kate Bishop is just not enough. It's not enough.